Welcome everyone to the final Tech Talk at VMworld 2012 in Barcelona. And with us today, I've got Jason Joel. And Jason, you're going to be talking about Workstation. And now, this is a not supported session, right? So
That's correct.
You're going to be doing some not supported stuff. And I'm excited about that because I break Workstation all the time.
Well, everything I'm going to do is not supported. So I'm going to do it for fun anyway and go through, and I think the audience will really enjoy it.
All right. Well, everybody, stay tuned. Jason's getting started. It's the last Tech Talk, so go big or go home, buddy.
All right. Thank you very much.
Jason.
So I'd like to thank everybody today for joining us. What I want to cover is something that the Workstation team has been doing for the last couple of years. We are pushing the limits of what we're allowed to do, and I'm pretty lucky to have my job and haven't been fired for it yet. But the reason we're doing it is to try to ensure that we stay relevant to our core users of Workstation, and that is the people who have developers, IT administrators, and have really moved beyond the desktop virtualization and the virtualization on your PC to the vSphere cloud virtualization solutions. So what we've added to the product has really caused a lot of anguish and a lot of turmoil and a lot of management meetings that I've had to face and executive meetings that I've had to face to ensure that I could actually even ship it in the product. But to date, it has not been supported, and the reason why we don't support it is because we don't want anybody to get seriously injured or in serious trouble doing it. But we do think it's interesting, fun, and exciting. So I'll start out by showing you some of the things, and then I'll also explain why it's not supported. And hopefully you'll appreciate it and understand it, and then find creative ways to use it yourself. So the first thing I'm going to show you is running simply ESX and ESXi inside of a virtual machine in Workstation. We've been doing this for years. In Workstation 8, we actually made it very easy to do, that you just create a new virtual machine, you use your typical wizard, and then you point to the downloaded ISO image of the ESXi installer. Press next a couple times, finish, and you'll go ahead and actually start installing and running an ESXi instance. You have to go through the same wizard, same installs as if you just put it on a server, but it works great. And I'm not going to bore you by actually doing the install live. I'm going to pull a Martha Stewart here and switch to one that I already have running. Thank you. And you can see I just have ESX running here, standard, traditional way. And it's just an environment that ESX does not realize it's not running on a physical server. It's just contained in its own bubble. And the question you're all having for me right now is, why in the world would I ever want to do that? So what we have done with this is gotten very creative. And what I also have running here is not just ESXi, but I have created a whole folder in Workstation in which I have two ESXi instances. Try to make this a little bigger so you can see it. Two ESXi instances, a Windows Server 2008 NFS server, and a Windows XP professional server to run the vSphere client in. And so with that entire environment, I have the capability to actually model what my production environment is going to look like, and you can run a virtual machine inside of those ESX instances and even vMotion it between the two ESX hosts contained inside of the Workstation instance. So that entire vSphere environment is running right here on my laptop. So we have started with that. We have done some fun things with it. We have entire view environments that have been deployed here, including the vSphere instance, plus a broker, plus view clients on desktops. And we've tried the whole thing out and gotten it to work and tried to test what we wanted to deploy. vCloud Director can also be set up in Workstation, and you can experiment and deploy that. So it is something that we have found VCP professionals have been using to learn about the latest versions of our products, to train for their exams, to get certified. You can set up and try anything from Horizon and Mirage deployments to become familiar with our new products, and also do what I just demonstrated here. So I'm not going to bore you by showing you how vSphere works, etc. But the one thing that is critical to know is it is not supported. So we encourage you to do demonstrations like I'm doing, to do educational, to training, whatever you want to do with it, but please do not put it in production. And the real reason for that is VMware has not certified our own virtual environment as hardware for ESX. we're a little busy certifying against all of our partners' actual hardware so people can make real money. And taking the team to actually spend the couple of months' time that it takes to really run a certification test and all the test harnesses against ESX inside of a virtual machine, especially on Workstation, is not something that we think is the best use of our time. However, with that said, we have had many, many, many people running nested like this and had a tremendous amount of success. So, and we rely on it internally at VMware as well. A lot of our QA is done in nested environments for many, many of our products. A lot of our own development is done in that environment. So, and VMworld is often run in nested, so the labs are run nested inside of vSphere environments. Shoot. So the question is, how much memory do I have on my laptop? I have 32 gigs on my laptop because I'm demonstrating and I had to get that approved. But generally I can run about a gig to 2 gigs per VM is what I want to dedicate. ESX, it depends on what the load is on ESX. So just demoing it like this, they can be like 512. It requires 2, I think, to create the VM, but you can kind of cramp it down. It doesn't really use that much. But I would... No problem. You can run 4 VMs pretty easily with 8 gig. So that is something that I recommend you explore. It is, again, very easy install, just lets you set it up and makes it happen overnight. So that's the first thing. So once we demonstrated the ability to run hypervisors inside of hypervisors, we immediately had our community and our friends decide to push it to its limits. And so what's the first thing that someone would do that we would never have sanctioned or ever believed in? They asked us whether or not Hyper-V would run inside of Workstation. And turns out it sort of does. That was last year. In Workstation 9, which we just released, we have added underneath the easy install new virtualization wizard. If you create a virtual machine and you say, I will install my operating system later, you will see that underneath Microsoft there is now an entry for Hyper-V. Oh, I missed it. So this configures the virtual machine setting specifically to run Hyper-V inside of a virtual machine inside of Workstation. So it's crazy. So why did we do it? Because we wanted to see if we could do it, was the first reason. It was quite a big challenge for our engineering team. Second reason, and they were proud that they accomplished it. The third reason, though, is somewhat serious. It is that we are starting to see more and more customers running hybrid environments and virtual environments, and they have some other customers' products out there. And we thought it would be a great way for people to build not just vSphere clouds, but hybrid clouds and build hybrid management tools right inside of Workstation. So, to prove my point, I'm actually going to show you. I'm not going to install Hyper-V because we'd be here for quite a while, but I do have it running. View, fit guest. So I have Hyper-V running on a Windows Server 2012 operating system, and inside of it I've created a couple virtual machines, of which I can go ahead and fire up and power on, and there you have Windows 7 starting up inside of Hyper-V inside of Workstation on your laptop. So again, please do not try this in any circumstances where people's lives are in jeopardy or anything like that. We do believe it works just fine. However, when running nested virtualized environments, our hypervisor engineering team has made it clear that theoretically there are some circumstances where potentially very catastrophic things could happen. And that's about as specific as they've given it. So they do have some situations where they believe you can cause what, basically a blue screen of death or a PSOD. However, we have never encountered them in production that I'm aware of. So just because it's theoretical, it is highly improbable. And that's why, again, we encourage you to do it for demonstrations, for learning, for education, for testing environments, development environments, but do not, again, try to run it in production, and why it's unsupported. And then the second reason Hyper-V inside of Workstation is unsupported is because we mentioned it to Microsoft that we were doing this. And their response was, forget about it, there's no way, it's not possible. And then their second response was, even if it was possible, we're not going to support it. And we scratched our heads and said, wow, deja vu. I think we heard that from them about 12 or 13 years ago when we talked about virtualizing Windows, and they said, forget about it, it's not possible, and we won't support it. So the world has changed a little bit, and we hope we're changing the world yet again. So we encourage you to try it out, put it in Workstation, create these environments, and please, since it's unsupported, we still want your feedback. But don't call our support team and file a Sev 1 issue. They're not going to be too happy about that. But we do have an entire Workstation community site, and if you post stuff up there, I can tell you our hypervisor team and our Workstation development team are very focused on people trying to do this, just because it does push the limits of our hypervisor, and we want to make sure we have the best hypervisor out there, and this is one way to do it, is try things that don't always make the most business sense, but are challenging engineering problems. And then I double dog dare anybody to try to run Workstation in Hyper-V. So, now the last thing I'm going to show you is another feature that we just released with Workstation 9 that is also unsupported because, again, I don't have the blessing from my management team to do everything I'm doing, but we thought it would be very, very cool. And what it is something that we call WSX. And it's a web-based interface that allows you to connect to Workstation or vSphere, although it sounds like we might have an issue or two connecting to vSphere, but it is a web interface that allows you to connect to vSphere the same way that the VI client connects to vSphere. So we're using the same remoting capabilities, the same protocol to remotely access your virtual machines, but you do it from a browser. And that browser has no plugins, and there's no other software installed on the machine. So the goal and the objective is allow people who are running their virtual machines to get access to their virtual machines from any device out there that supports HTML5. We've been doing a lot of testing on iPads. We've been doing a lot of testing on all the Windows tablets. Android, their HTML5 capabilities are good, but not quite there yet, so we're working with Google to fix a couple issues. But Google Chrome on Android is actually decent, but don't use the Android browsers. So I will show you here running IE10, and accessing my virtual machine right from within the browser, if my demo works. So it's a web-based interface for Workstation. I have connected to my virtual machine, and the resolution from the monitors have thrown me for a loop here. 1 second. You fit to guest. All right, so this is Windows 8 running in Workstation and being accessed simply from Internet Explorer. Now, there are many other ways people have attempted to do this. There's PC over IP, there's other RDP protocols. This is just using the same, and AppLast, which you've heard of. All of them require in-guest components, not RDP, but PC over IP and AppLast require in-guest components. This has none of that. This actually takes the graphics output right from the hypervisor level and plumbs it right to a web service that generates the web page. And the benefit of that is that there's no requirements to write software to run in the guest, so it works for all operating systems. Windows, Linux, if you can get Solaris or FreeBSD, all work just fine. Anything Android x86, anything you can get to run in a virtual machine will remote this way and be accessible. And so that fact, plus the fact that you don't have to install anything on the machine, means you don't have to have admin privileges on the machine or anything like that. It works very well. We're very pleased with it, and we are developing it ongoing. But we have posted the latest version on the VMware community site for anybody to download, and we're looking for feedback on that as well. And one of the reasons this is unsupported right now is we shipped it very early. We did something a little different than typical VMware style, is instead of waiting till it was beta tested for 6 years and have 2,000 people test the heck out of it, we shipped it and asking for feedback, and we'll keep revving it very quickly. So our intent is to put up a new release every couple of weeks. But I will show you real briefly that I can navigate through Windows 8 and move through the interface and actually launch my desktop right from within the browser. And in fact, even if I run a movie, you can see the movie actually plays pretty well. And this is the Workstation 9 promotional video that's available on our website. So that protocol is decent. It is not, bulletproof, and I wouldn't say I'd want to game in it, but I certainly can watch videos and do it reasonably well over a wireless connection. I would not try to do it over a very, very narrow bandwidth dial-up connection or something to that effect. So we would definitely appreciate your feedback on running ESX or vSphere in Workstation, running Hyper-V in Workstation, and using WSX. Those are all areas that our team is really pushing the limits. What we hope to see WSX transform into is a web console for vSphere, and we're working with the next generation client team to use this protocol and have them re-leverage our code. So any feedback you give us makes that even better than it will be otherwise. So thank you. I will be available for questions afterwards, and if you don't have time today, please post in our communities forum and ask whatever questions you have. We're happy to help you. So.
Thanks a lot, Jason.
Thank
that
you.
was fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Now, I'm the kind of person that likes to poll an audience, and we can get some tweets from the live audience. How many people are running Hypervisor in Workstation?
All right.
How many people are running AutoLab on their workstation? All right, excellent. A lot of people. So yeah, it's definitely something that everybody's doing. I know, my certification work wouldn't happen without it. So
great.
We appreciate all the efforts that you are putting in.
Well, if there's anything else unsupported you want, let me know that too.
All right, definitely, we will. All right, everyone. Well, that's actually going to bring us to a close for Tech Talks at VMworld Barcelona 2012. On behalf of Alistair Cook, Damian Carlson, Nick Marshall, and Cody Bunch of the Brown Bag crew, I want to thank everybody for attending and viewing online. Without you guys, we wouldn't even want to do this, and you make it possible. We appreciate all the contributions from all the presenters that came out this week and presented. We know that the 10-minute format can be challenging, but I think that's why everybody loves doing it. And of course, we want to thank again our sponsors who helped get us out here and make this possible: Veeam, Nutanix, and Cisco. You guys have been amazing, and we really appreciate that. And a huge thank you to VMware, John Troyer, Eric Nielsen, and all of the VMware community team. I mean, it's just awesome being a part of this community. So we really appreciate it. We appreciate everybody viewing, and we hope to see you again sometime in the future. Have a good one. Adios.